The Last of Us Part 2, the Allies had several new systems to improve their ambient behaviour. To add to this, there were a new set of idle and walking animations that allowed characters to move around in the world in a slower and more relaxed state. In fact, many of the relaxed walk and idle animations are not only specific per character, but also change in different chapters of the game. Hence, a character would have different sets of the same animations to reflect how they are feeling at that point in the story. With all these idle and walking anims in place, it could allow for what are then known as wander posts. Wander posts are locations in the world that a character could slowly move to and then run a simple idle anim. In fact, when these behaviours are going to be used, the level designers could use a tool that would auto-generate wander posts all over the available area. Once all of this was in place, it allowed for an entirely new exploration system to be built for these scenarios. The purpose of it was to have a character be able to randomly explore the world in a way that felt natural. In short, what it's doing is figuring out a realistic way in which a character can move between caps or paps in the scene. So what it does is it decides which cap or pap to execute and gradually make their way over to it, using a wander post and the more casual walk animations along the way. This would mean that the character casually moves towards an area of interest to explore, rather than beeline towards it like they're the freaking Terminator. The funny thing about the exploration system is it's actually based on a piece of AI tech from the first game. The exploration system is actually based on the cover point system used in combat for the hunters in The Last of Us. As detailed back in my episode on the first game, during combat, the human enemies in The Last of Us run a calculation against all 20 of the nearest points of cover to decide what is the best direction to go. This process uses a range of criteria to determine whether a piece of cover is a good one to move into when in combat. So the developers copied this system and then modified it specifically for generating exploration behaviours. To do this, it considers all caps and paps and wander points in a region to be a valid post for it to visit. And when it finishes interacting with a cap or pap, it will prioritise a wander point to break up the flow before it visits another one. There are a selection of design criteria used to decide which posts it wants to visit, prioritising posts that are near to and in front of the non-player character, posts that are in the open space rather than in corners of the map, and also it will avoid posts that it recently used, so you don't see it doing the same behaviour on loop. Critically, it also aims for posts that are either close to the player, on the player's screen right now, or will result in the NPC passing in proximity of the player. Why are these important? Well, if it didn't take these into consideration, then there's no guarantee the player would ever see these behaviours happen, thus making this entire exercise an utter waste of time. The best place to see this in practice, which in fact Naughty Dog themselves used to test the system, was the museum flashback with Joel and Ellie at the end of Chapter 2.